Today's recipe is creamy, cozy, and packed with veggies. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Joanette, your longevity expert, and today's recipe was inspired by my Blue Zone heritage. But instead of using those traditional potatoes, carrots, and flour in this recipe, I have substituted low-carb alternatives. Make sure you watch all the way to the end. You might just be surprised what I am using instead. So let's get cooking. To get started, we are going to start with making our soup base. I am using a Dutch oven, a Cuisinart Dutch oven, and an induction burner. And I'm starting by adding some olive oil to the Dutch oven. Nice generous amount because we're doing a fair amount of sauteing, and olive oil is so delicious as well as healthy. Nice healthy fats in olive oil. To that, we are going to add our carrot substitute, which is turnips, our onions, great prebiotic. Those healthy bacteria in our gut love onions and garlic. Two of their top all-time favorite foods. So include lots of onions in your diet. And also our celery. And we're just gonna stir that around and cook it until the onions are kind of translucent. While that's cooking, if you haven't pre-cooked the wild rice mixture, go ahead and cook it while you are making the soup because you're going to want to add it at the end. It takes about an hour to adequately cook. I cook it the day before. In fact, I cook up a big batch of wild rice. Use it in all of my recipes, but key thing is I let it chill down in the fridge. That reduces the starch or the carbohydrates in it from being available to utilize by our body. In other words, they quite often will spike our sugar, but when you chill it down overnight, it converts that starch into resistant starches, which then becomes food for your gut's microbiome. Another great prebiotic, those resistant starches. And your body then doesn't break it down into sugar. So that's in part a big thing of what makes this a low-carb recipe as well. That's been cooking for about 5 to 7 minutes, about 6 minutes here, and the onions are starting to brown a little bit. Everything's nice and soft. And to that, I am adding my garlic. I have 4 medium-sized cloves of garlic. By the way, I had 3 stalks of celery, a small turnip, and a large yellow onion that I started with. Don't want to cook that garlic very long, about 30 seconds. And then you're going to add the rest of your veggies. So our cauliflower and our spices, little sage, thyme, rosemary, no parsley. Stir that all up, and we're gonna let that cook just a minute or so. And we're going to add our vegetable broth. I have homemade vegetable broth. You can just use purchased vegetable broth. This is no salt, so I'll be adding some extra salt to it since there's no salt in the broth. We're gonna add the mushrooms as well. You could add them before the broth so that you get rid of some of that extra moisture in them. I like that extra umami flavor that moisture in the mushrooms gives. So I just add it after I add the broth, but it's totally up to you, whatever you want to do. If you like your mushrooms browned up a little bit, some of that extra moisture taken out of them, then add them before you add the broth. You'd cook them about 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes for them to do that. And we're going to take this and put it over on our other stove here. Put a lid on it and let it cook. While we're making the creamy part of our delicious rice today. For the creamy part, we're going to melt a little butter in our saucepan here. And while that butter's melting, I am going to take some grated Parmesan cheese, some instant clear gel, and some nutritional yeast, and we're going to mix them all together. The instant clear gel is our thickener, but if you put it into the soup, just plain, it will clump up. So you want to mix it in with something that's powdery, like your Parmesan cheese, your nutritional yeast. And then when you add it all to the soup, it doesn't clump up because it's now nicely mixed in with other granular type of elements. And that's nicely melted, and we're adding some coconut milk. 1 can of full-fat coconut milk. Get all of that nice coconut cream out of it. And I use a cup of heavy cream as well. If you're non-dairy, then you want to skip the Parmesan cheese and skip the butter, or use olive oil instead of butter, and use all coconut milk. Or you could use coconut cream as well and add a little back into this, just kind of melt out the rest of the delicious coconut cream. And now we're going to whisk in the nutritional yeast, thickener, and the Parmesan cheese. Get that nice and thick, almost like a cheese sauce. And we need our heavy cream as well. Let that heat up and thicken, and then it'll be ready to go into our rest of our soup. If this has been informative so far, thank you for clicking that like button and subscribing. Also, for the induction burner and the Dutch oven, as well as other materials that I use today and ingredients for this recipe, scroll down to the links below or go to my website, growwithdrjoanette.com, and click the shop button. You'll be able to find all of the things that I used in today's recipe. Now that our cream sauce is done, I brought the kettle back to our induction burner, and I'm adding 4 cups of loosely chopped kale. Kale is a great anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and also great for our brain. We're going to cook that kale until it's nicely wilted, probably about 5 to 7 minutes. And I also add my pre-cooked wild rice at this point. It's smelling heavenly. Just let that cook a bit. Then once that kale is nicely wilted and tender, remove your bay leaf. And at this point, I go ahead and turn off the heat and stir in my creamy cheese sauce. Oh, that looks good. Get all that delicious cheese sauce in there. It's time to serve it up. I like to add a little fresh lemon juice there into it and a spoon of some Parmesan. Stir that in there, and we'll add a little Parmesan on top, and it is ready to eat and enjoy. Let's give it a taste. It's pretty hot. Delicious, comforting, warm, creamy, everything that you want in a fall soup. That is also low carb. Thank you for watching, and visit my website for this full recipe, as well as for other additional healthy recipes to support you on your healthy longevity low carb journey. And we'll see you next time on the Dr. Joanette channel. Thank you so much for watching.